Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I want to see your face. That don't make me wait.
Case.
And even when I go to sleep.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, man. We got to clean up in here. You live in Houston?
Yes.
Nice. Is that where you're from? Born and raised?
Long Island.
Long Island, New York?
Yeah.
Man.
He does this every freaking time.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you're already sitting down. Y'all want to shoot? Okay.
No.
We got the beer. We got mugs.
Here, take this.
We need to give him. Yes, sir. And we need
Take this.
that Stan's mug.
Are we using mugs or not using mugs?
Yeah, let's use the mug. I'll get him a mug.
Are you doing it? We're gonna.
One or you have a. What do you have for him?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a ton in there. He's drinking water right now. He said he wants to add Jack to his water.
You guys do an amazing job. You guys do an amazing job on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know. We try. You know, we just try to have a good time, to be honest with you.
You do have a good time.
Yeah.
You have a good time.
Yeah.
I got to promote my Sox game because my Sox game is always strong.
I like it. I like it. I love socks. We were just talking about socks in the last episode.
Oh, really?
Blow me up. God dang.
Sorry, I disconnected you.
What's your connection with what the fuck's the matter? He doesn't need to know my stuff. I'm kidding, by the way. I told him I'd call him at 2:30.
I got you. You're recording. Go ahead.
Okay.
I got you.
I told him I'd call him at 2:30.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Long time, brother.
Did you come in last night?
I came in. When I came in, yesterday.
Yeah.
I had a couple of meetings. I do mentorship. Right?
Yeah.
So I mentor a couple of young
Hold
men.
on. We'll get there.
Well, you just asked me a question.
We'll
I-
get there.
What you want me to do? So what should I say?
Just say, I don't want to answer your question
Yeah.
right now. I plead the
You're in
fifth.
timeout.
Timeout. What we good on this mic? We need to move this mic.
There you go. I want to get everything set. That's what I'm saying. Spence doesn't look comfortable at all.
No, I'm really comfortable.
All right.
It's just that my head's kind of not right.
All right. Dan, are you going to pour those beauties? And then Brandon will talk about them. We'll do a cheers to start this episode off correctly. Has it been that long? We got to cheers, man. We got to start the podcast right.
Sorry, sometimes I.
What are we
forget
drinking
things.
today, Brandon?
Today, welcome back. Sleeping Around the podcast.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, my friend. Today we're going to try out these citrusy goodness.
Oh,
What are they called, Dan? Lazy Sunday. Lazy.
what are they called, Dan?
Let me take a look at that, York.
You want me older?
Yeah. These are brewed and canned by Martin House Brewing Company in Fort Worth, Texas.
Martin House is great. I love Martin House.
Yeah, so Martin House, they
Hold
do a
on.
lot of sours. Say it
Lazy
again.
Sunday.
Yeah, Lazy Sunday. So I think they do a lot of sour beers,
Okay.
but I don't know for sure. But this is a mimosa-inspired ale. It's not Sunday morning, but Sunday morning is a morning for mimosas.
Are you doing
And
that?
my mimosas typically have mango and orange in them. So this is a mimosa-inspired ale, 10% alcohol by volume.
Beauty. Have you tried their salty lady?
I haven't tried their salty lady,
Pretty sure
but
it's a salty lady.
would you have a salty lady after a lazy Sunday, or would you have a salty lady before a lazy Sunday?
You probably have a salty lady.
Probably salty lady first and a lazy Sunday after, because after salty lady, you need a lazy Sunday.
Mm.
You
I was
guys-
thinking
I just got rid of a salty lady.
You guys have left me. I'm out of this conversation.
I'm a
salty
drinking out-
ladies. You lost me at mango
You don't
mimosa.
mango mimosa. I don't know what I'm talking about, York.
Yeah,
Actually, to be
certain
honest with
things
you,
you don't have in Jamaica, and that's one of those.
that's okay. I'm just gonna drink it out of the can, Dan.
All right, you think, man.
It's handsome, Dan.
Handsome Dan.
Handsome.
Drinking out of a can. Handsome Dan.
There you go.
I'm a poet and did not know it.
You didn't. Can I get one of those, handsome?
Well,
All right.
it's-
Our guest is York Spence. I call him Spence. Welcome to Sleeping Around with Dr. Brandon Matthew,
Thank you.
brother.
guys.
Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Pleasure. It's actually Y.R. Spence. That's what the book is on there, and that's what I'm going with.
We could do that.
Y.R. Spence.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah.
Y.R. Spence.
Yep.
This is delicious.
This is excellent. This is excellent.
Ooh.
It's tart. It's a little tart.
Just keep that right there.
That's when you say, Beggars can't be choosers.
That's right.
And just have a swallow and move on.
So, full disclosure, I'm going to call him Spence. That's what I've always called Spence. Spence
That's
and I are good friends.
I'm going to call him YR because that's what he requested.
That's cool. Spence and I go way back. We're going to talk a little bit about how we met. It's kind of a cool story, our friendship. But the most important thing is what Spence does for a living. And this,
The
an
book.
amazing, amazing book. YR is now an author. My brother's shot. We're going to dive into a little bit of that. Spence, I'm going to have just a few questions and some stuff. But man, this is going to be an awesome episode. So thank you for being
You
on
need
the
that again?
podcast.
Did
Thank you
get
guys.
that?
Thank
got
you
it?
guys. I appreciate so much. Let's get started.
You got
Yeah.
it. So let's just start how we met. All right. So I used to work for a company called Philips. And at Philips, I sold CPAPs. And I was really good at selling CPAPs. And I love the Valley. And what I tell people that for people who are watching, it's called the Rio Grande Valley. It's McAllen, Harlingen, all the way down to Laredo. And I loved going down there. I've been going down there since 2005. Talked about it in previous podcasts. My mom's favorite place in the world was South Padre Island. I loved going down there. I love the people, I love the food. And what I also noticed is not a lot of people go down there and do their job as salespeople. They usually stop at Corpus Christi. They stop at San Antonio. They maybe go to McAllen a little bit, but they don't. And I made it a monthly routine. I stayed at the same hotel. I made sure I was present for all my customers. And every night at this hotel, I would sit and have a beer or 5. And I would look across, and there was this same guy that would always be there the same time I was. And we just kind of nodded at each other. And
Legit at the same time. And it was like, I said to myself, why did this guy ever come over and talk to me? I'm talking, it wasn't like 1 or 2 times, like a good couple of years.
Over
Yep.
a couple of
It's
years.
a couple of years.
Every
Yep.
time
And
you're there, you see him.
Yeah. And I would be sitting on this side of the bar, and he would sit on the other side. And I'm like,
Yep.
and we never ever said anything.
Nope.
We did the occasional
We cheers. Yep.
Yep.
cheers, you know,
Yeah.
that. And I think one of the times it was really busy.
Yep.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So after I went to restroom and he came back, and I just said, let me go sit next to this guy.
Yep.
Right. And then we started talking, really good vibing, right? Having really good conversation. Then they're ready to close down. You know, they're closing up. Like 10:30, they're closing. This guy orders the biggest cookie I've ever seen.
This is Fat Matt, by the way, guys. This is,
The biggest cookie.
and they
I've
called
ever
it the
seen.
Matt Special.
It was the size of my head.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough, though. That wasn't enough. It had to have like 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream on
On
it.
top of it.
But that wasn't enough.
What's the name of this place?
The DoubleTree. They loved it.
That's the double tree.
No, they loved. Oh,
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
We'll
then,
talk about it.
then they just sprinkled some like chocolate syrup on
Oh
it.
man.
And caramel.
And then Matt was quiet for about a good, it's like I wasn't talking to anyone at this
Yeah.
point, right? And I look over and it was done. And I'm like, I was like, you know what, man, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got no time for this.
So from then on, every time we would, we'd send each other pictures if we were there without, but we'd always meet up there. Became really good friends. And so one night we're sitting there and he goes, I never asked you, man, where do you live? I'm not going to give our address out. I go,
Right.
oh man, I live close to Katy, Texas. He goes, so do I. That's weird. I go, well, actually I live in Richmond. He goes, shut
So
up,
do I.
man.
Yeah.
Pulled out my driver's license. He pulls out his. He lived 3 houses behind me.
Craziest thing. I was
Five
like,
and a half hours away.
Yeah.
We met
what?
and he lived 3 houses behind me.
That's
I was like,
hilarious.
this is craziness.
So then we started, and it
maybe
was
maybe
the-
y'all need to actually get out in your neighborhood more.
well, here's something funny. We realized that we frequented the same watering holes just at different times while we were in Houston. So I go, hey, do you know? And when we showed up together, they were like, hey, what's going on? Y'all two know each other? We're like, yes. How do y'all know? And they knew my name and your name.
it was crazy.
It was.
We
Yeah.
walked in. No, he was sitting. He was sitting in, and he was like, "I'm over here at our watering hole." And I was like, "Okay, I'll see you there." And he's like, "You know, want me to tell you where it is?" I was like, "No, you don't got to tell me where it is. I know
he walks
exactly where
in
it
and
is."
they go,
I
Spence.
walk in, and they're like, "Hey, how are you doing?"
It's like Norm, man. They're like,
yeah, I was like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" Everyone's, I'm dapping up everyone, high fiving. Matt's sitting over in the corner. He's like, "What is going on?"
He knows
here?"
everybody. He knows everybody.
He's like, "What's going on here?"
So
that's good.
That's how
story.
we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. I don't know how many years now.
I'll tell a quick story. One of Matt's birthdays, I don't remember which one it was, about 3 or 4 years ago, we decided to go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Mhm.
and it was a crazy experience because we said to ourselves, let's do something. Yeah, every birthday we come have drinks and watch football. Let's try something different. One of our friends came up with this bright idea. Let's try the hottest wings. They have
boy.
this
Blazing.
right?
Yeah.
Inferno Wings. So I'm like, first of all, we said the only rule we had was we had to eat it at the same time,
Okay.
right? We had to put it in our mouth at the same time. So the bartender is over there and she's getting ready to film us. And I'm like, do you guys even smell this thing? Let's cancel tasting it. First, let's smell this thing, right? And we were like, okay, let's 1, 2, 3. And me like a chicken, I'm saying to myself, y'all go. 1, 2, 3, y'all go.
Yeah.
But then, that peer pressure thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. 1, 2, 3. We all swallowed it. And we all were like, it was synchronization.
Yep.
All of us basically hit the floor, keeled over, and was like, what?
Smoke.
Grabbed
Smoke
our
coming out
beers.
the ears.
Grabbed our
Yeah.
beers.
The first thing I said to myself is, I got to call my wife. I got to call my wife because something's going down here. That's the first thing.
I might not make it.
Yeah, it's the first thing I said to myself. Call my wife. Something's going down here. And that was one of his birthday. That was a great experience.
Oh,
we
man.
Spence and I share a passion. My background, and I don't know if I've talked much about this on the podcast. I'm a psychology undergrad, master's degree in psychology, and was going for my PhD in psychology. Had a miracle happen in 2005. My daughter. During that time, I was a therapist at a wilderness camp for first-time offenders. I have an extreme passion for working with teenagers. It's what I specialized as a therapist. It's what I did as a youth minister. It's what I did at Salesmanship Club Youth Camp. This book that we're going to talk about today kind of ties in that. And at one point, Spence had brought up to me, he said, man, you need to be like a life coach. You're really motivational. I think you have a lot to offer. And I was telling him what I used to do in my prior life, right? Spence took off with this idea, and you just have such high integrity. You're humble. I don't think there's a room that you don't go in and you don't just feel comfortable. So you're a great salesman too. I know your other side too. You have another job. And I just, reading your book, man, and tell me you're going to do a book first. I was like, yeah, he's going to do a book.
Yeah.
You got those friends that are like, I'm going to write a book. Yeah, you're going to write a book. Yeah. So, man, I want to dive into all that. Enough about me and you being buddies, but when did this happen? I mean, I know a little bit about your history and where you're from.
So I will tell you this. So let me answer the first question. When did this happen?
Yeah.
This book has been in on like 4 different laptops over about 6 years.
Okay.
I studied how the kids read books nowadays, and it's generally how people are reading. And no one reads novels nowadays. Only few people read a full novel, chapter novel, and all that. So I said, okay, I wanted to reach the youth, right? So how do you do that? The book is made up of short stories, quotes, and advice statements. About 300 really solid advice statements. And I said, so that's how it's made up. But I travel. Like I said, we are in McAllen, and I travel throughout, Texas. And at that point, when I first started, I was going to Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. And I wasn't home.
Yeah.
Right. So I usually get these creative thoughts in my head and just blast it over to my son. And it became a routine in my head, right? I'll be driving. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Let me send it over to him. Ooh, that's a good one. Let me send it over to him. I had an idea for a story, just wrote up a story. And I said, I'm going to send this over to him. And it just kept on going, right? So beginning of COVID, I said, let me just do this, because we're like literally stuck in the house for 8 months, So I said, let me get this published. And I reached out to a publisher, and I never told you this one. I reached out to a publisher, and they were hyping me up. They're like, oh, brilliant idea. This is going to reach so many kids. This is the greatest thing next to sliced bread. So I was like, oh, okay. But I need X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if it's gonna happen, let's do it, right? Dodo head. So next thing happens, I'm shelling out money. Oh, I'm gonna need an extra money for copyright. Oh, okay, I'm shelling it out. Process lasts about 5 months. I said to myself, publishing a book should not take 5 months.
That's right.
Right? So I called him, no answer. I called him, no answer, no answer, no answer. So it kept on calling for about a good 3 weeks, no answer. They had taken my money and ran off.
Oh,
No,
man.
They had taken my money and ran off. Now,
How much money?
It was about $5,000 at
Oh,
that
man.
time.
Okay.
Is my wife going to see this? so it's about $5,000 that time. So I called the bank. I said, total fraud. I filled out all that information. Next thing you knew, the bank said, well, the time that you had to file has expired and I can't get my money back. But I really believed in the book. So what did I do? Research another company.
Another publisher.
Research another company. Got in contact with this organization, Elite Online Publishing. Spoke to this lady, Jennifer Foster, and Melanie. And they were massively friendly, massively supportive. And I said, I've seen this picture before. They're going to take my money and run, right? And they were so attentive. They stand-up group of people, right? They told you everything up front, zero on the nickel and diming, and promised what they said they were going to do, right?
Follow
They
through.
followed through, right? They said, I want you to take a look at a couple of covers, right, for the book.
Let me see that book.
Like, take a couple covers for the book. And I said, all right. I said, hey, I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I have zero creative skill sets, right? I have zero creatives. I can't decide to cover a book. So you guys just show me what you have and I'll say yay or nay. These guys were so excellent. Next thing you know, I did it, went through the process, book was released. They called me and said, your book is doing really well.
Really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
They said it's become an international #1 bestseller.
Oh, nice.
#1 international
And
bestseller, guys.
I said, are you sure? You sure you guys didn't mess up? It's me, right? It's me, a kid from Long Island, you know? That doesn't happen to us, right? So they sent me a bunch of my books and said, this is excellent. You did a really good job. Next thing you knew, I would say a week after that, I had high schools calling me, right? Youth programs, churches, and saying, hey, why don't you speak to some of our teens? We really want to get you in front of them. And I'm saying to myself, what is happening here?
Wow.
You know, and it just took off.
Had you done a lot of speaking prior to writing the book? Had you been a public speaker and done a lot of those types of things prior to the book?
So in my current role, I'm actually a business coach. I do business coaching, life coaching, relationship coaching. And in my role as a business coach, I do a lot of public speaking. I sit in front of, you know, staffs for the stores that I coach. And so I did do some. Now, as far as outside, as a life coach, as a relationship coach, as a motivational speaker, inspirational leader conversations, I've done a few.
Okay.
At that point, I did a few.
Yeah.
Now,
It's what you do.
now it's more
I want to
frequent.
read the whole title.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brandon. Because I keep forgetting. It says My Brother's Shot, and we'll talk about how you came up with that. But it says The Boy to Man Handbook for Navigating the Teen Years. And I think it's cute that you have a picture of me and you on here as kids. Your publishers did a really good job. We both had great hair.
So
There you go.
it looks like the audience is the teenage boy, mostly, or
Watch
the teenage
this.
boy
Yeah.
parents. What's the audience?
I will tell you this.
that was the plan.
That was the plan.
Okay.
But that's not that in reality. The people that are gravitating to the book are parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parents.
Yeah.
More parents are buying it than the actual teenagers. The process that I had for the book was that it's a handbook where you could actually write in it, hey, that's a good thought. How could I relate it to my life?
Yep.
Right. So and I made it small enough so it could fit in a backpack. Right. The thicker version is coming out next week.
That a
in
boy.
the next book, right? Actually, that's not too far from the truth,
Yeah,
right?
right,
It was. I had a big thing going, and when I was talking to the publishers, they're like, you know what? We have to keep it in a range where the teenager could just put it in their back and they won't be intimidated by it,
100%, man.
right?
Like
So-
Dan, he won't. If anything's
Yeah.
over 100 pages,
Or if the print or if the font is too small, Dan just won't even look at it.
and it's got pictures, Dan.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, right? It was supposed to be something that they put in their backpack, put in their locker at school. It's the single mom, single household, and just parents are gravitating to it.
Coaches, I mean, tell me
Right.
some of these stories are
Yeah.
amazing, man.
I have, I don't know. There's so many stories that goes on. I don't even know what that is. No shoes on, but I'll
well, he wears Bombas socks.
I wear Bombas socks.
He's for all of our
You ever wear
watchers
Bombas?
and listeners.
Bombas,
Brandon
yeah.
doesn't allow shoes in the house. I don't want to be barefoot on a podcast, so I wear shoes. But he loves
Should I
Bombas
get
socks.
should I get a podcast room pair of shoes that I can wear when I'm in here?
I don't know. You?
No, continue wearing your Bombas socks.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Go
go.
ahead.
Sorry to distract you.
That's
with
okay.
my bright socks.
Since we showing off our socks game,
You got a nice game going there too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that those are Bombas, but
No. I don't know. My daughter gave me a series of socks for Christmas.
yeah.
I digress.
So let's get back to So the book originally started off right. The goal was, hey, I'm talking to my son. This is pretty cool. Publisher did me wrong. Do you want to talk about the publisher's name who did you wrong? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't ever use that publisher.
Yeah, don't ever use one. But so then it gets launched. It's a #1 international bestseller. You're probably thinking, what the heck? And then
Literally.
the people that are contacting you are families, coaches, youth leaders. Talk a little bit about that.
You
that
know,
transition.
when they're coming to me, and it actually grew my life coaching business.
I'm
and my
sure.
relationship coaching business, right? I really, there's certain stories. I have tons of stories of mothers that just said she sat around the table and she bought 4 copies and all 4 sons, and they all went through it.
Oh, nice.
They all went through it.
Yeah.
I have other parents that just go ahead and put it under the kids' pillow
Yeah.
before they go to bed.
Oh, that's cool.
The parents are buying it, and some of them are actually using the tools that's in the book as their own.
Hey.
So I'm like, hey, whatever you want to do.
And a little, selfishness on my part here. I've got a son.
Mhm.
What's the minimum age that you think that a kid, a boy, can start to kind of relate to this?
But this is the thing. It's morphed beyond that. It's morphed beyond it's the handbook for teenage boys, right? But there's some solid tools for life lessons. Like when you look at the 300 advice statements, they're relative to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
They're relative to anyone.
Yeah.
Now we have the short stories that would,
Might be a little more difficult for someone 8, 9, 10.
Right,
Dan.
right.
Yeah.
But you could. What if I said that everyone should have a copy and be valued off of?
I mean,
That's
where
a
can
true statement.
Where can
right?
we find it? Amazon
Amazon, my website,
website. Okay.
my
And,
website,
and
which
what,
will go ahead.
what day does it come out? This
It
isn't
ca-
going to come out till about April. So is it already out right now?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
April?
yeah.
Okay,
No, it's-
good.
Yeah, the book was released June for 2021.
Yep.
Book was released June of 2021. But going back, when I say it's morphed into a book that crosses every genre, right? The target market is vast, right? There's no one person that says, you know what, this is for me. Now, like I said, there's short stories
Yeah.
that you could relate to, but for the most part,
Well, let's talk about. I've heard you use the word coach,
Mhm.
business coach,
Mhm.
life coach, relationship coach. I know you have a history in therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, those types of things as well. What, in your mind, first of all, how'd you get into this? What was your inspiration for becoming a coach? And then maybe talk to me a little bit about what's the difference between a therapist and a coach or a counselor and you said I was a youth counselor, so what do you envision that difference to be?
So I use the word coach when I'm coaching my clients, and for the one reason that a coach plays to win. Okay,
Ooh.
there is an end game with a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? Whenever you go into therapy, you could actually be in therapy for years.
Yeah.
Right? There is no value.
Hold on.
Hold on. When you're coaching someone, I'm coaching you for 3 months.
Okay.
During that 3 months, I will give you skill sets. I will give you tools that will make you a better person at the end of 3 months. And at the end, and after that, we could actually continue. But there's a set time.
Okay.
Right. And then we actually find out what winning looks like.
Tangible goals.
Right.
Yep.
What does winning look like? Tell me about that person you want to be in 3 months. Tell me about who you want to see yourself. Tell me. Right. Okay. That's where we'll get you there, and we'll better your best.
I
Right.
like that.
We'll make you the better person.
Yeah.
Right. Here's how we start.
And selfishly, so we joke a lot on this podcast. Spence has been with me through this last year and a half, and I went through some major stuff, right? Also with my divorce that we joke about, but Spence has been there for me. During this period of time, I was going to work with Spencer. We had decided that I would go into coaching with him, and then my whole world collapsed. Instead of being that guy who was just about business, it's almost like me and you saying we're going to start a podcast, and then something serious happens. I just dropped out. He never left me, and it's rare that you find people that just don't want something from you, right? And you've been such a good friend. And when I was reading through this book, I think there's some of the things you would tell me or text me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
And so I just know that your heart's genuine. That's why I start off with integrity, right? Because the things that I went through, you were always just there. You were like, hey, man. So I could see when you say a coach does it to win. I love that mentality because for someone who was in a down point, I needed to see where that finish line was. And not necessarily a coach to me, but my friend, you were able to help me get there. So I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah.
Did
Now-
that coaching mentality come back? A lot of you guys might not know this, but this is also a fellow college athlete at Boston College, played baseball. Did that coaching mentality happen there where you kind of got that, or was it way before, Spence?
Well, it was actually Northeastern.
I'm sorry, Northeastern, BC guy, but yeah.
But
But you are a BC guy.
yeah, you see, what happened was when Northeastern did away with their football program, a lot of us gravitated to BC, and we're big
Boston College.
supporters.
Yeah.
Right. So now we don't miss a game. Well, he doesn't miss a game. We try not to miss a game.
All right.
No, being an athlete for so many years, you know what a coach does.
Yeah.
You could spot a good coach. You could spot a coach that ain't no good.
Yeah.
Right? You could spot a coach that just yells because the sky is blue. And then you could spot a coach that yells because I want to make this person better. So that's where the coaching mentality came from. And I always like that one-on-one approach with the people that I'm coaching and saying, hey, we are talking about specifics right now to make you the better person. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we take a deeper dive into where you are, what has caused that. Studying cognitive behavioral therapy, it teaches you that there is an activating event.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's an activating event that causes a behavior. Right? And after the activating event that causes the behavior, there's consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And sometimes that consequence is they need a long-term therapist. Right? And sometimes they could survive or thrive with a coach that's going to help them, for a certain period of time. All right. I loved coaching because I just like seeing the light pop on, the light. They go, oh, great.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You know, I love that. I love the self-discovery in people. And when they come back to me and say, Coach, you did a really good job.
That's cool. They call you
I'm a
coach?
better, I'm a better person today than I was when I first started speaking. Matter of fact, I have that conversation with people when I start coaching. I said, hey, you're not going to be the same person you are today 3 months from now. And of course, they're like,
Right.
you're just full of it. Yeah, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then come back and they're like, oh, you got me. You got me.
Well, it's interesting, you know, if you look at the most successful people in the world, and no matter whether it's athletics or sports or golf, or those are all athletics, actually. If you,
I thought he was making fun of
or
golf. That was a
business,
pretty good joke.
Business or financial success, they all have a coach.
Yeah.
They all have mentors. So you mentioned mentorship coaching. They all have a coach. They all have mentors. And those, and I know personally, having worked with different coaches, business coaches, life coaches and stuff, the impact that it's had in my life.
Yeah.
And now I coach other dentists and see that impact. Tell me about the relationship coaching. Was that something, you know, that you always had? Was that something that was always part of like what you wanted to do? Or did you see it as this is just a need that I can fill?
Both, right? The need is very strong today, right? Relationship coaches are really sought after because, especially after COVID, where people are just together all the time with their spouse.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I'm going to kill this person. I can't deal with this fool. I got to spend the next 50 years with this fool, right? You know, so there's a lot of challenges that relationship is happening right now with husband and wives. The main one I'm seeing is communication. And when they say they're not communicating, I'm like, I said, stop saying you're not communicating. You're not listening, right? Someone will tell you what's going on. You just don't want to listen. They'll tell you. I had a husband said to his wife, he said, I don't like the way you leave the house. You are too, you know, you have stuff all over, hanging out all over. And she'd be like, okay, I hear you. Come to the meeting, chest all out, shorts and everything. And I'm like, you haven't got a communication problem. You have a not listening problem. And she's like, well, I have to be me. I was like, no, your relationship comes first. You come second, right? And that's the biggest problem. People's like, well, I want to do this. I want to, no, slow down. Your relationship comes first. You know, Steph Curry is not going to pay attention to you. So don't go watch. don't be like, hey, I got to go watch a game with my friends. Steph ain't never going to meet you ever. You know, Vlade Klitschko ain't never going to meet you. You know, all these, you know, Mayweather, all those guys that you get in an argument with your wife because you got to watch the game. You have to watch whatever. Those people do not care about you more than she does. So it blows my mind when a guy says, I want to go watch a game. Yeah, you want to go watch your game, but you want to stay with your wife more.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this happens all the time. But when you bring it to a male's perspective, or you bring it to a female's perspective, that 4 hours that you spend hanging out with your girlfriends may have irreparable damage on your relationship. Is it worth it? Right? So then you end up working with family members or husbands or wives where their mindset changes. Right? Everything now becomes a value proposition. Right? Is that Gucci belt worth aggravating your wife? Value. Well, I want it. Yeah, you want it. Have at it. You want it. But what is the consequences when your wife sees the bill?
Yeah.
Right? And now she has to worry about how she's going to pay for daycare. right? So you have to, everything happens, and you just got to sit back and say, your wife tells you what she wants. Your husband tells you what they want. You just say, listen.
Yeah.
Could you work with Brandon and I? not in our relationships with ladies, but just together. This has been really good.
How many people look you back in the face and say, well, watching the game is more valuable to me?
Oh.
Then if watch the game is more valuable to you, select a game and make sure your spouse is with you. So now that game becomes a bonding experience. You follow? Mm-hmm. If that game, you need to watch that game, don't leave your wife out. Relationships thrive when there's inclusion. It separates when there's exclusion. Right? Think about every fight you have ever had with your significant other.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Someone at one point felt excluded.
Yeah.
Right? Someone felt excluded. Whether it's you went and bought something without me, whether you went to hang out with your friends without me, whether you went upstairs and got drunk without me, whatever it is, there's an exclusion there.
So I've talked to, and obviously I've done some marriage counseling in the past and some personal therapy and things in the past. And some of the marriage counseling I've done in the past maybe had a little bit of a different approach than that. And there was this thought that, individually, somebody needs to have, they need to be fulfilled individually before that they can give to the relationship. And so,
sure, you can't feed unless you're.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like, in those situations, maybe there was a thought that you need to take care of yourself first, and put the relationship second. And you're saying kind of the opposite of that, is like the relationship needs to come first.
So a therapist taught me this, and I'm going to pass it on. This was awesome. In my first marriage to Kelly, and she doesn't mind me talking about this, I'm one of those guys that put on Sports Center.
Yeah.
And she goes, "It's the same one." I go, "Yeah, it's Sports Center, right?"
Yeah, it just keeps going.
My therapist's like, "Okay, this is what I want you to do. You get up early, dude." I said, "Yeah," and she sleeps late, right? Yeah, that's when you watch Sports Center. Yeah. That's when you go to the gym. Yeah, that's when you fill yourself to fill the time. So you are, I'm with you. I've heard those words before, not from you, but from therapists. It's true. So you're right, Brandon. I do think, and just my humble divorced twice opinion, you have to feed yourself. You really do, to be able to feed your partner. But it's the timing. Did I get that kind of right?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
You could tape that football game, watch it in the morning. You can, No,
but let's backtrack a bit.
Okay.
You cannot be in a healthy marriage if two people aren't healthy.
Yeah.
That's by definition. Right? It seems simplistic, but that's you get
preach.
So by what you're saying, the assumption is like when you're speaking to two people, you're like, okay, I'm talking to both people. I'm finding out, okay, what's the dichotomy here, right? Are both people healthy, sound people that just have differences in outlooks, right? Challenges, the way you see something and the way I see something, their frames are not connecting.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about connecting frames. What you see in life, I want to see the same thing, or what you see in life, I see something different. Their frames are not connecting. Right? So a lot of times when we sit down and we're doing relationship coaching, I am notorious to just shut up and let them speak. You shut up and let them speak, you'll figure out what's going on every day of the week. And they will sometimes figure out what's going on. And you're like, you guys solve your problem right now. You guys just don't pay attention to each other. You do not value her voice, and you do not respect him.
Wow.
A man doesn't need love. A man needs respect. A man interprets love with respect. Right? If my wife says to me, honey, I love you, I love you, I love you. Shut the hell up. You really no respect there. Man interprets respect and love, right? A woman needs love. She needs the affirmation. Right.
And that goes back to what, like the 5 love languages, right? Okay.
When I look at when I listen to people.
Am I a woman? I think I'm.
No, I'm very feminine in my 5 love languages. I will be the first to tell you physical touch is number 3 for me. Most men, it's number 1. It truly is. It's my number 3. I'm words of affirmation and gifts of service. I've always been that way. So I'm with you. I love affirmation when it's in the right form. I don't want BS affirmation, right? I don't. So hearing I love you is important to me. It just is. But I hear what you're saying, because if you could tell me you love me and then not be respectful, and then I go, well, then you don't love me. So then it plays that reel that I'm very good at doing, right?
Yeah, you hear the echo.
Yeah.
Echo is very important.
I'm curious, man. I got to ask this, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, because I do know a little bit about you. Earlier, you mentioned about being in upstate, right? Can I call it New York?
Upstate, Long Island.
Long Island.
Strong Island. But I also know that you have other roots and stuff.
Yeah, my parents are Jamaican.
That's right.
And the crazy thing about it is, so you ready? My stepdad is Haitian.
Okay.
My wife's mom is German.
Okay.
So my kids, they're Jamaican, German, and Haitian.
Wow.
Right?
They're Jamaician. Germaicians.
Yeah.
What they are is beautiful.
Oh, I know. Well, I know.
Right.
Well, by the way,
I just had to push that one in.
no, but hear me out. Your kids are beautiful.
Yeah, they're good.
We won't Google them.
Yeah.
Your kids are.
Yeah, they're good. Good kids.
Models.
Good kids.
My
They're
goodness.
just.
How many kids?
2. And let me. You know what?
So you mentioned, how old's your son now? Because you mentioned this book. A lot of the inspiration for this was your son.
What, 22.
22. Okay.
22. Let me tell you the real inspiration for everything I do. You know, when you saw life coach, relationship coach, my father passed in 2020. Was it 18?
It's right before my mom.
Right. And we came back from Florida. And he was coming downstairs, and he said to me, he said, Dad, what are you leaving for my kids? What are you leaving for my kids? Because we realized that my dad left, inheritance for his grandkids. And it's mentioned in the Bible only one time what God wants from a man, right? To leave an inheritance for your kids' kids. That's a good man. So only one time God says describe a good man in the Bible.
That's right. That's legacy, but yeah.
Yeah. To leave an inheritance for your children's children. So I said, when he said that, I don't know if he was being flippant or just being, at that time, just a teenage wise guy or whatever. But then you start thinking, am I leaving something for my grandkids? Right? Because all through life, you figure, you have a life insurance, you get hit by a bus, everybody's set.
Yeah.
Everybody's set. The neighbors set, everyone is set. Everyone's balling out of control. There's a Lambo pulling up in the driveway, But when he said that, man, something really triggered in me. And that's when everything, when I started doing different kind of businesses, started. Everything triggered me.
I mean, I remember you were like, man, we need to do, I'm thinking about
right?
this
It was
business.
about that time.
I remember we were getting fired up. You're like, let's open up.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at that time,
Yeah.
I tried doing franchising. We talked
Yep.
about the franchise.
And then the CD, that.
Yeah, we talked about doing a CBD business.
Yep.
And, the barrier to entry was just too great. But we thought about so many things. I was motivated at that time, right? Because I found a vision, right? When you have your vision, life becomes easy.
Yeah.
Because you know what you can do and you're not supposed to do. I have a vision what I want to be. I want to be the best person I could be every day. What does that mean? I'm not going to be sitting in a hotel room smoking crack.
That's later. But
But your life becomes easy once you find your vision.
Yeah.
So I think where you grew up in that influence roof, that's where I was going with this. So how in the hell did you end up in Texas, and how did I meet you in Macau?
Let me growing up on Long Island, there is 7 of us.
Okay.
And I'm a middle child. I have 2 older sisters and an older brother. I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister.
Okay.
Dead smack in the middle, right? my parents owned businesses. They owned an employment agency as well as restaurants.
Okay.
So I saw hard work growing up. I saw compromise growing up. Not positive compromise, because you have 7 kids, it's like, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
It's almost like
nothing,
they all take care. The oldest takes care
yeah,
of it. Okay.
nothing phases me anymore. Because you learn how to say, hey, you want it? Hey, fine.
Well, except the night out with me last night. That's we'll talk about that later.
Now, your parents were first generation immigrants
Yep.
to New York from
New York,
Jamaica.
From Jamaica.
Okay.
In the late 60s, there was a mass exodus out of Jamaica into New York. And at that time, they worked hard.
Yeah.
They worked really hard. for
Well,
what they are.
we were talking about this with Dr. Ty, and we were talking
yeah.
about this with about Jenny. Their parents were first generation immigrants from Vietnam. And I lived in El Paso growing up, and I saw a lot of first generation immigrants from Mexico. And we were talking about those kids of those parents see hard work.
Yeah.
It's because they work hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to share a conversation. So Spence and I we like to sit at the bar and have a drink, right? And his son got a vehicle. I won't tell what kind of vehicle it is.
Oh boy.
Right?
What type of vehicle?
Right? It was a BMW.
Okay.
And my daughter's just a tad bit younger. She's turned 17, and I'm so mad at him for getting him a BMW. Like, I'm so frustrated with him. Like, he's my friend. And, I can be honest with him. Like, what are you doing, man? He's like, it's not that he gets the BMW. Can I tell this?
Yeah,
It's
go
not that I gave him the BMW. It's what he put in the BMW, what he's doing to the BMW. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, man, it looks like a hoopty, big old speakers. And it was
Remember
a beautiful
that?
car.
We got him a beautiful car. And we went back to the same watering hole I was talking about, man. And he's like, "What's wrong, dude?" I was like,
He was
"I was
so
like,
mad.
you know why? Because
here we go.
when I was his age,
I got
if I had gotten that car, ooh,
Yeah.
I'd be outside polishing it,
Oh, here we go.
and
This
everything. I'd be spit shining it. He had the biggest speaper
I
in
could
that
hear
trunk.
it. I could hear it.
Right? The biggest
Yeah.
speaker in the trunk. So when when you have to, you pick up someone from the airport, he couldn't put anything in the trunk because the speaker was in the bag trunk. Consequently, the speakers blew and blew the front things. This is the front speakers. And I'm like, get that. Dad,
Yep.
my speaker blew, my electric, could you help me?
Mhm.
I was like, you must have lost shit. But I did help him, buddy.
You do.
But-
You're a big softy.
Yeah,
man.
I'm soft. I helped him, but I was so hot. And I still don't know why I was hot.
He's so-
I still don't know why I was hot because I'm still upset up to today. Because 5 years later, or whatever the time,
Yep.
the big ass speaker, ooh, could I say,
Yeah.
that big ass is now in the garage.
It's not in the car
And
anymore.
whose garage?
Garage. It's in the garage, not even in the car anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was so angry.
And his
so
daughter
quick.
is absolutely beautiful. Guys, she is a model.
Yeah,
And
she's-
got into politics and has a career. She's just amazing.
Mhm.
And so we were talking, I only had the one child. At one point I was raising some other kids, right?
Mhm.
I was in another relationship and I was navigating through that, and he's like, every kid, and I think you say, you treat them, everybody's different.
Mhm.
So how you treat your daughter. And she was like the princess, right? Like you're grinning. Oh yeah.
It's not that she's the princess and my wife's gonna be like, there you go, there you go, given an opportunity, right? It's not that she's the princess, and I'll give you a secret. I love my son even more because I care in 30 years, his last name is gonna be Spence, her last name may be
There you go.
Wolf. So it's the love you put in a woman is different than your love you put in a man.
Yeah.
Right? The love all you have to do to your daughter is love her and show her how she should be treated.
Amen.
That's all. You ain't got to do nothing else. Love her.
Because another man's going to come in.
Right.
I love that.
Right. This is how you're going to be treated. No one could come to her and talk foolishness to her because she sees how her dad treats her mom.
That's right.
Right? You can't roll up with her and just do anything. Right? Now, my son, you have to be harder and show him what it means to be a man.
That's right.
And if there's a deficiency there, you take it personally.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a deficiency there, the way you react is much different, right? Your success is your son's success, right? If he ends up sitting around, chilling, doing nothing, no matter how successful you think you are, you're really not.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between coaching and parenting in that aspect when you're dealing with them? Or do you do it very similarly?
Where's your sign? Can you repeat the question, Dan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here, let me just flip this bad boy
Thank you.
around.
You're a good looking man.
There we
Come on,
go.
let's go.
The approach to your son, do you approach it in more of a coaching way, or is there a difference between coaching and parenting whenever you're doing that?
Time out. Repeat that. I don't like the camera on you. I like the voice from the heavens. I changed my mind.
A third one? A third take? We're doing a third take now?
A third take on that. Just go back and just do the original take. I think the voice from the heavens is better than the camera on him.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's
No, I think the voice from the heavens is
All right, so hold on 1 second. Dan, Handsome Dan's question, take 3.
Does it make sense? Do you still have it?
Here. Coaching and parenting.
Coaching and parenting. Is there a difference?
Is there a difference between coaching and parenting?
And maybe just for you.
In my household.
Correct.
In my household. Yes. Because when you're coaching, you still have to maintain a certain degree of decorum and disposition.
That's right.
Right? You can't call
When you're parenting, you can lose your shit.
And that's what I was trying to figure out is what is your coaching style?
Right.
Because you mentioned earlier the screaming.
No, when I'm coaching, I am a listener, I am a diagnoser, I'm a trainer, I am an understander, I'm a facilitator, and all that, right? That's what I'm doing instead of coaching. And I'm looking for clues. The similar things that you're looking for clues for what makes that person tick.
Sure.
Right? For my son, I listen to what I'm saying, what he says, and I try to absorb it and come back with an intelligent response. For instance, and I just don't want to use his name. Well,
No, don't.
I go,
Call him Dan. Just call him Dan. It's me.
I go, son, I'm going to the game. You want to come with me? First question, do we have front row seats? Right? Because I have, in my previous banking career,
So
you asked me what
we talk a lot about
right?
the kid.
I had front row seats, right?
At the Rockets.
At the Rockets,
Yeah.
right? So the first question, it's like, well, I'm hanging out with my friends. So his value wasn't hanging out with his dad, was, do I have front row seats?
Yeah.
Right? But, the more I learn about, because I'm in the process of writing the second one, and it's more psychology based and human behavior based on the teenager. The teenager's changes. The teenager changes sometimes from semester to semester.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out what their likes are and their dislikes are. You find out what their likes and dislikes are by finding out what their friends' likes and dislikes are.
Yeah, because that's where they gravitate to, right? So I've been so fresh, and parenting is so fucking tough. It's like really hard, and it changes. And being a divorced parent's hard and tough, and in ways it's awesome. But I battle as a parent myself. I battle this with my kids. Is I travel a lot for work. I'm gone all the time. I have multiple businesses and multiple responsibilities. And when I'm here with the kids, I'm here with the kids. But when I'm gone, and I'm gone a lot. And so sometimes I have meetings and that kind of stuff. And so I'm picking up the kids late from school. And, I'm trying to juggle all these things. And I'm, pretty decent at it. And I block out time and that kind of stuff. But oftentimes the kids will say something like, oh, you work too much, Dad. We want you here more. You work too much. Or, and sometimes it may be influence from their other parent or something that your dad works too much or that kind of stuff. So then I say, okay, I'm going to be better with my time. I start blocking out time and I pick you up earlier from school. So now I try and pick them up at 4:30 instead of 5:30 to have that extra time with them. And we get home and I'm like, all right, I'm home, blocked it out, good to go. And we get here and they don't want to spend no time with me. They just want to go play with their friends. They want to go outside and play. They don't want to
What kids don't understand when we talk about the male figure in the household, the male's the dominant thing for a male, they have the responsibility to provide.
Yeah.
It's innate. Yeah.
Right.
So you've met my dad, right? I think
Yeah,
you met you.
yeah.
So my father is a perfect example. Part of the reason I'm attracted to friendships is traits of my father, and Brandon
Right.
is, and you
Right.
both have that. Growing up, my dad worked his booty off.
Mhm.
He's gone all the time. And it was about quality. I never talked back to my dad. I never fussed at. There was no way. He was the man. He was Army and then oil field. And I'm going to tell you right now, he was gone all the time. But when he was home, he was present. And I'm so grateful for that. And I never once grew up going, my dad never. I just, because it's just what I knew, my reality. As a father, what I've learned through that.
What did your father show you?
Oh, shoot. Hard work, love for my mother. My dad sat me and my brother down at an early age. This is why I love what you said earlier. I give so much credit to him. There's so many one-isms I talk about him. But he goes, my brother's smarted off to my mother, and my dad beat the shit out of my brother.
I've been there.
And it was awesome. And
Are we allowed to talk about child abuse?
And we all came together. No, listen, we all came together, and my dad sat us both down. Remember, I just took good notes. My brother's 4 years older and dumb. He made a lot. But my dad said, I love both you guys. I love her more.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be out of the house one day. This is my wife.
Yeah.
Don't you ever. It's your mom, but this is my wife.
Yeah.
And I remember, I get chills now.
Oh, no.
So I learned a lot from him. My point being, now that I'm a
thing.
father, divorced, and I have this, it to me, especially now that my daughter's 17, it's awesome. It's just me being there. And being divorced, I would do the drive and do that. You've met Mia. Just being there. And the older she gets, like when Charlotte's age was awesome. I was everything. I was the man. And now, not so much.
Yeah.
But I'm there. It's a presence. I'm always going to be
There. You're there.
But I try to think back to this, and this is the hard.
100% right,
this is the hard thing about parenting is I think I look back, and I probably, as a teenager, didn't appreciate my father. Now I know now what I learned from my father, and I learned hard ass work from my father. My father was in the military. He got out of the military. He grew in his career. I saw him elevate. I saw him come home after a long day of work, eat a quick dinner, kiss me and the kids good night, and then go to the commissary, the grocery store, and unload pallets in the freezer section for $25 a pallet to make extra money to make ends meet and provide for the family. So I learned hard work from my father, but at the time, I probably didn't appreciate it as a 15-year-old until I was old enough to know and understand. And it was probably 20, 21. I was in college. I had an epiphany in college where I was like, holy shit, my dad actually was really smart and knew everything he was talking about. And I was kind of an asshole teenager, you know? So does every kid go through that epiphany, or is that like...
Every kid does. Time is what's your question.
Yeah.
Some may do it at 15. Some may do it at 27.
Yeah.
It's the time.
I mean, you're a 40-something-year-old asshole now. So
Thanks for 40-something. 40.
I had to have had discipline growing up because there's so many kids.
Yeah.
And my stepdad, he worked the night shift at Chase, right? So he had to leave home on Long Island at it's like 11 o'clock to get to work, right? And he worked all day. And then when he comes home from work, he had to help my mom at the employment agency. And then when he got off, so he would get off at like 5 at the business, get 4 hours sleep, and do it over again.
Yep.
So what that taught me, once as kids, we knew no matter what the hell's going on, 11 o'clock you had to be in bed because he's going to check, make sure we're sleeping. And 2, when we come home from school, the house has to be quiet. So all of us had to study.
Oh, because he was
sleeping. Right? So we did not have, growing up, an option to be running around and be undisciplined. It was just, that was not the thing that we could do because that's not the makeup of the house.
I mean, you were there. I mean, so we all grew up different, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you went and spent the night at somebody's house. And you went, Jesus, what the heck? How
What's
did they
going on?
live? Like, I remember the first time I heard a kid talk back to his parents
Yeah.
and didn't get a smack. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, and they kind of ran the house. And I was kind of like, as a kid, even, I was spent the night at this person's house. I won't say the name, but I remember like not thinking it was cool. I was like, man, that's weird. Like the parents just let him talk, and he doesn't have to. I mean, I got up, made my bed every day. I had chores. I didn't get allowed. You just did. It's what you did. Yeah. You know. And we've talked about how we spoiled our daughters. So.
Oh yeah, my daughter tells me
Full
about that
disclosure.
story.
Yeah.
My daughter tells me about that story where she, it's a pretty affluent area, right? And the kids that she went to school with, there's no shortage of funds in those houses, right? Case in point. No, I'm kidding. And they would be like, she bought a brand new Jeep Cherokee or just a Jeep Wrangler, Laredo, and they're riding around. She didn't like it. They pass it on to her younger brother. It's sitting in the garage until he turns 16. She'll give it to him because she wanted something else.
Oh, geez.
Those are conversations that she was having. And she was like, those kids, they were the rudest to the parents.
Yep.
And I'm like, what after that? She said, Dad, she came home and she threw the keys and says, I'm sick of this dumb shit. Give me something else.
That is, it's crazy.
And I was like, first, don't try that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't try
it's
that.
good for you. Huh?
But it's crazy. Going, on that same note, it was when I got a company car, my wife got my car and my daughter got my wife's car, which at that time was a Mercedes, right? So I'm talking rubbish right now because
I was about to say, I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to.
but you knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because she ended up rolling into the Mercedes. So,
Well, listen,
comes full circle.
Spence, you obviously watched the podcast. I loved how
Yeah.
you knew the Dr. Tyson. That was cool.
Yeah,
man. So thank you, by the way.
because Dr. Ty said something that was really, I don't know if you remember, she said, or I think you were saying that in certain Asian communities, they would say after high school, they'd be like, oh, I'm going to medical school.
Everybody's going to med school. Everybody's going to med school.
And then 5 years later, they'll be like, well, wait, you
How's
failed?
medical school? Yeah.
You failed,
Yeah.
So I like that. That happens in a lot of community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's very prevalent in a lot of communities. In Nigerian communities,
Yep.
prevalent. In a lot of Haitian communities, it's prevalent. It's prevalent in a lot of communities.
So how'd you get from Long Island? First of all,
I'll tell you.
because you never answered that question. I don't mean to.
No,
it's
you're
to
good.
call you out on
Good.
that, but
No.
how'd you get from Long Island playing baseball, doing whatever you did, to Houston, Texas, and doing what you're doing now? I'm hearing like there was a banking background, but what was the aha moment for you of I'm going to impact people's lives in the way that I'm going to be this coach?
So you ask a long question, so you like a long answer, so you go get a long question now. I don't even know if you're ready for this one, right?
Come on.
So what we did is my daughter had, when she was born, and we were on Long Island, she had asthma.
Okay.
The doctor said that during the winters, it's going to be tough for her,
Yeah.
right? And my wife and I, at that time, were just thinking about, let's just get out of Long Island. Let's just get out of New York. It's cold. Just get out. So we end up moving to South Florida.
Okay.
We're in South Florida. That's when I got into banking. And I was
What'd you do in college?
a marketing and economics.
Marketing. Actually,
I actually studied, and I actually went to Cambridge in England, and studied law. But so we went down there, right? And 9 times we were in Florida. Life was good. We had our son.
I know all these stories.
Life was good. Then I got the opportunity with WAMU to come to Houston, Washington Mutual.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be a branch manager over here. So I was like, that's when the bubble was bursting in South Florida, where we literally bought a house for $115,000, ended up selling it for $230,000. It was like, that's how crazy things were going over there, right? Craziness,
Yeah.
right? So end up with Washington Mutual here in Houston.
Mhm.
That's how I got to Houston. Liked the banking business. Chase took over WAMU. I was just not. It wasn't a good fit. Me and Chase.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Yeah.
So I started my consulting. That's when I really started doing my.
I bank with Chase. Should I discontinue that?
No.
Are you saying I should
No,
close all of my Chase
they have good
accounts?
products. They have good products.
Yeah.
The transition between
Those are always
WAMU,
tough.
right?
Anytime a company
Big
buys
merger,
another
yeah.
company.
Yeah, the employees.
Yep.
I guess we weren't willing to adapt as rapidly to the new culture.
Right.
Right? Self-acknowledgement. I wasn't willing to adapt to the new culture as readily as I should.
Yeah.
And plus I was like 10 years into my life coaching, and I really enjoyed talking to people. I got certified as a life coach at that time. I really enjoyed that, right? And I was actually making, as you say, the side hustle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was actually doing things.
You were
right?
doing the side
Making-
hustle before it was popular.
Yeah, I was doing side hustle before it popped.
But again, real quick, have you seen? I got to say this in Living Color, where they do the joke about the Jamaicans.
Jamaican, yeah.
That's so you. That's so
I-
your dad. How many jobs do you have?
Yeah,
I got 5 jobs. I got 4. Okay,
I
go
have
ahead. Sorry.
I have life, all kinds of stuff,
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
right? And that's
So you leave
So-
WAMU. You leave
so I
Chase.
started doing my consulting, right? And I really liked it. But that's when this kid started getting older. I thought I was going to find a job where I could spend more time, because it was a lot of burned out. When you're doing consulting full time, right? Life and relationship coaching full time, it wears on you when you're dealing with your issue, and next hour someone's gonna come in with another issue,
Yeah.
and then 3 hours after that. So I was having 4 sessions
I was
every
a
week,
therapist for a while.
right?
Yeah.
4 sessions. I was having 4 sessions a day.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "You working 4 hours a day? You balling out of control? You living life?" I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah.
Right. So then I said, "You know what? This isn't good," because it was starting to affect number 1, right? Where I was starting to, if my wife said yes, I started to psychoanalyze yes.
Oh boy.
You
You bring your work home.
right?
Yeah.
But you weren't. It's hard to shut that off.
Yeah.
It's hard to shut that off. I've been doing it for 20 years. I know now how to shut it off. Right? Your brain gets used to decompartmentalizing.
Yeah.
I didn't have that skill set back then. So I said, I'm going to get back and look for a job. Right? And a friend of mine referred me to the position. That's where I got a job right now, as a business coach. And as a business coach, what I do is I visit independent entities, businesses, and help them become more profitable.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't think we were going to. Yeah,
Right?
We'll mention the company.
Help become more profitable, keep them aligned with certain regulations and everything. So I'm heavy into that.
Is there a certain industry that you work more in terms of business?
I do pharmacy.
Okay.
I'm a pharmacy expert, pharmacy guy,
yeah.
right? Everything, like literally everything you need to know,
Yeah.
current. But it's such an industry that's always fluid. It's always changing.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's how I met him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was
'cause we
traveling to
Pharmacy. So we should talk MDMA.
No,
traveled.
no. I love what I'm doing, and that's it gives me the freedom to write. I literally tell you I'm writing another one, and why I'm able to do a lot of things. Right, I've like 5-10 revenue streams, and the reason why you have those is because, say for instance, yesterday, for instance, sometimes I finish at 12 and I'm in a strange town. I'll be damned to go traveling around. I'm not that dude to go traveling around and go do different things. Like Matthew says, we go to the same place
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
We've gone to the same. So I'm not that dude to go travel. I got to explore. I don't sing that song, right? So I get back to the hotel. And when I get back to the hotel, it's like, okay, let me prepare for tomorrow. All right. So that's 2-3 hours.
Spence, you've
What do
watched
you
the
do?
shows, and like I was starting earlier, I really appreciate that, man. Anybody who watches our podcast, but what our premise is, right? One of the things that us 3 share in common, besides being very good looking and college athletes, is we all travel. And there's a camaraderie that you have with someone that knows that you travel. How the hell are you sleeping? And how do you sleep with your travel schedule like it is? I know I've given hints and how I do it. Brandon's talked about how he does it. We got to dive into your sleeping because I have a feeling just looking at you, brother. If I talk to your beautiful bride, she would say you snore.
True story.
Come on, let's talk.
So when I first started my job,
here.
when I first started the job, right? I had you asked me if I do public speaking, right? I was literally doing a presentation and my boss at that time was with me. Like, that's what we do with public speaking, right? So part of my section was over and his section started. Okay. So he got up to start speaking. I'm in the back of the room and I went like this.
Oh, you dozed off. Mm-hmm.
Right. So
way to do that in front of your boss, Spence.
Right. But it's not only him. It was a crowd of, right? This store had like, I don't remember how many people came. It was like 30, 40 people, right? So it was downstairs at a Hampton Inn and they were all there and I'm in the back of the room. This brother was like this.
Oh boy.
Right? No joke. So he didn't say anything at that time. So afterwards, we all went for dinner. Me, him, and my wife went for dinner because it was actually in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Okay.
I love Eagle Pass.
So we went for dinner and he said, your husband does a really good job, but I cannot trust him to do his job unless he takes care of his sleeping.
Oh,
because I drive a lot. I don't like to fly. You know that. I don't
That's
like
true.
to fly. You know, at one point I was like, hey, fly down to McAllen. I was like, no. And hell no.
we joke about this a lot.
Right?
Why don't you like to fly?
Let's
talk about this.
It ain't. No, let me get back to what I was saying.
There's
But
some CBT we can do here about flying.
I'm just not.
Hey, look
Man,
at him. Look
when-
at him.
when I tell
He
you-
doesn't like flying.
When I tell you that I had Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, I would drive.
Oh, man, that's a lot of driving.
No, I had zero problem with it. Zero problem.
he
with
is
it.
the John Madden of.
I would
he
have
does-
zero
man.
problem, because I would see my stores in Louisiana and Alabama and Louisiana and Mississippi and then Alabama and in Destin.
Right.
But I would not see all of them, right? So that I could get on a round trip coming back. So it's not just one straight.
All right, I want to make
But
sure
here-
that's such a good message. Repeat what your boss said at the time. That is freaking beautiful
No.
to your wife.
Yeah.
Say it again.
He literally said he does a good job. He's really smart. He knows what the hell he's doing, but he's not going to be able to keep this job if he doesn't change his sleeping habits.
Dang.
Straight up. That was on a Friday night. No, Saturday, because we had a presentation. That Sunday I took off and did a sleep study, right? I was sleeping a good REM sleep, 45 minutes a night.
Do you remember what your AHI was?
Come
you
on,
know what
man.
I'm talking about?
I don't remember. I know that I wasn't, because they showed me the video.
Yeah.
Did they put you on a CPAP?
Yeah. No, girl,
Girl. Just tell them, girl.
you ask.
I'm just asking a question.
Let me
Man,
tell you
I don't
something.
mean to make you
I do not
uncomfortable.
leave home without my CPAP.
All right, so hold on.
Okay.
What's the pressure on the CPAP?
I have no idea.
If you call me girl one more time.
I don't know. I turned up high, put my junk on, and I'm out.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to my man here.
No, that's freaking awesome.
What year was that?
7 years ago?
Okay.
So
7 years? I
what
don't-
difference did it make for you?
Your facial expressions.
Dude, I'm talking about I'll have a meeting. I'm coaching someone in a meeting, and while they're talking, I'm about to fall asleep.
Before.
Before
Like, now?
Right now, right then, if we're talking, I remember I was as a branch manager at Chase, I used to have meetings with my assistant manager and another manager that I had. And they'd be like, dude, it's 7 o'clock. Wake up. What the heck's wrong? True story, we'd have to be at the branch early to work on the ATM, right? So when the teller manager is working on the ATM, I'd be outside doing monitoring, and I'd be like this. I would stand up, fast asleep.
Oh.
Now I've known you a while, so you've lost weight. You've
Yeah,
gotten
yeah.
shape. Yeah. So there's been kind of a progression. And you clean shaved for whatever reason now. But me too, right? You met me on here. But it's interesting. So you're telling me right now that you've been on a CPAP for the last 7 years, travel with this sucker. It's your go-to.
Yeah. I don't how
Don't
should
call
I
me
say
girl.
it? Like you don't leave your wallet at home. I do not leave my CPAP at
No,
home.
that's what it's like. I'm telling you.
Oh, no, I know.
People that really benefit from the CPAP,
I think CPAP's, y'all know I love CPAP.
they will not leave home without it. That is exactly the case. Like the people who have this incident. Now, I'm curious as to, was there an issue before your boss said this? Did your wife ever say anything in terms of, hey, dude?
Yes, she always did. She
Yeah.
did.
So you didn't take your relationship advice.
No.
And you weren't listening.
This is way back.
Well, here's what actually happened. My kids'
I'm just
room.
an asshole for
no.
calling people out.
My
I'm
kids'
like-
room.
I'm
My
like-
kids' room is upstairs.
Yeah.
And it's not until my daughter was in her room. I mean, not that my wife telling me next to me was
Yeah.
a big deal, but when my daughter said something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
I
yeah.
could hear you
Yeah,
up in
yeah.
my room.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like,
How-
what do I do?
How often does this come up in your relationship coaching? Does snoring come up?
God dang it.
Does snoring come up in relationship coaching?
Yeah.
Because they don't sleep in the same bedrooms,
Yeah.
possibly?
Whenever conflict happen, one instantly looks for something to escape. And snoring is always one.
Conflict, you snore, I'm
So-
going to the other room.
right.
Or you go to the other room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the conflict creates an escape. And the wife's escape or the husband's escape is, I'm gonna go sleep upstairs.
Mm.
That's the genesis of a lot of divorce because it continues.
Yeah.
Because there's no, unless the husband gets help, it continues. The distance between them get greater and greater.
Let me throw something
make
at you
sense?
because
Yeah.
So I know you're writing in the middle of writing a book,
Mhm.
but Brandon and I have really dove into this sleep stuff, especially with kids,
Mhm.
right? And we were just talking about his daughter earlier before the podcast and a possibility of getting adenoids taken or anything.
Mhm.
I am coming to a conclusion with interviewing, studying what I've studied, that a lot of these teenagers that are depressed
Mhm.
or they don't have the low energy, there's a lot of sleep issues.
100%.
And I'm curious, like, because what your expertise is now, right? It's this book and dealing with relationships. I am such a big believer that sleep is got to be the foundation of all these things.
Yeah.
That if you're not getting good sleep,
So
you're not showing up as
Well,
you
and I
were.
think for teenagers, a lot of it's the sleep habits. You know, they're breathing issues for sure. There's teenagers that have breathing issues, but I think we have bad sleep habits.
Right.
yeah.
The phone.
So what happens is, before a coach and everything, I was a cognitive behavioral therapist.
remember, yeah.
Right. That was the first thing, right?
Yeah.
When not a lot of people knew what a cognitive behavioral therapist is, but if you're not sleeping, it affects your attitude. And while you are growing as a teenager, right, your attitude gets affected first thing in the morning. First thing sets you off in the morning by your lack of sleep.
Yeah.
So when you wake up, if you didn't get, you're 13, your mom be like, why you wake up in a bad mood? Well,
Mhm.
right now, it'll be because Johnny was talking to me crazy. Mary doesn't want to wear my shoes. She thinks I'm ugly. Whatever.
Mhm.
But it all starts with a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And some of these kids, they're not getting a good night's sleep because there's too many distractions. The devices that they have,
Mhm.
just creates a lot of contention within themselves. When they're watching TikTok before they go to bed, and they're comparing themselves to what they see on the screen.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then also just the screen time on the
Yeah.
eyes.
Right.
and-
So they're going to bed feeling less than.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to bed with it. Well, first of all, they're going to bed late because they're watching too much TikTok.
Yes.
So they're not getting enough sleep. Second of all, they're going to bed with a negative attitude
Anxiety.
because they got anxiety and depression, feeling less than because of what they're seeing. So not enough sleep, going to bed too late, and going to bed with a negative attitude, therefore waking up with a negative attitude.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We talk about, and I try not to incorporate some of the constants that I'm doing like right now, but I have some parents right now that doesn't understand why the kids are waking up, crabby and bitchy and everything. Well, have you thought about removing their phone from their room?
Yeah. What time? I'm having this discussion right now, and I hate to get like just steal all this for my personal gain.
Why
No.
not?
But no, it's okay.
But since we're here,
Continue.
So we're having this discussion now about when is an appropriate time to get your child their first cell phone. When is that like there's obviously probably lots of thoughts on this, and I'm 100% against it. Like my son is 11 and he's starting to get kind of picked on at school, but he's picked on anyway. And I don't believe getting him a phone is going to change that. So, but
It'll increase it.
yeah,
I think.
the ex-wife thinks, well, he's getting picked on because he doesn't have a phone. He's the only one in his class that doesn't have a phone. I'm like, he doesn't need a fucking phone. He never goes anywhere by himself. We're not, dropping him off. And it's just another thing, especially for someone with ADHD and other behavioral issues. So I'm kind of against it, but I know at some point in time, with the day and age that we're in, it's a necessity and it'll come. But what do you think about that?
What I would definitely not give is a specific age range.
Thank you.
All depends on the maturity level of the child.
Yeah.
And what the parent, that is a coaching and parenting, that is a parent decision that we both parent has to get in accordance.
Even
It's not an age
co-parenting.
thing.
Well, shit,
Even
if we're talking
co-parenting.
maturity, I need to get rid of my phone.
So I'll chime in here. I agree. Thank you for saying that. So every situation is different. Remember, every kid's different. So I was divorced when Mia was 4, going on 5. I lived in a different state. I damn sure got her a phone really early so I could FaceTime her, be with her. My question is, and what I've heard a lot is, why does he want the phone?
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know
And
that-
hear me, I hate asking why questions, but what is it about that phone that's going to change him?
Well,
from
I
this point?
gotta be honest with you, 100%
Please.
honesty here.
It's about time.
He,
So this whole time,
I don't know that he wants a phone other than because he hasn't said anything to me. So this is coming from his mom.
okay.
That I think he needs a phone. Now, I would assume he wants a phone so that he can feel included.
Sure.
We were talking about this.
Social media, and there's other
I'm not fucking social media. We're not doing that. He's not ready for that.
I'm just saying I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but to feel included.
I mean, you don't even fucking do social media.
I don't.
What have you considered? Have you considered any like older phones,
Like
maybe
a cricket?
maybe
Like
a
a flip
BlackBerry?
phone.
Oh,
Perhaps,
he won't
or like
get picked on at all
Yeah.
then.
Because I didn't get a phone until I was in 10th grade, and what is that, like 16 or 15, whatever?
Was that like
grade it
5
is?
years
So is that-
ago?
yeah, I was gonna say like 3 years ago.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
12. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got the
Uh,
razor.
But I found
This
a
was
phone
record.
at my grandpa's house, and then I was just like, "Hey, mom, can I finally use it?" It didn't have a battery.
Yeah.
It didn't have a SIM card. We had to like go find a battery.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got my first cell phone. And it was like a shitty flip phone.
Flip
that
phone, yeah.
had nothing-
Listen, this
like
is what I'm
T9.
going to solve all this.
But
Get,
maybe
get
that
him a
would be
beeper.
Yeah, something simple, something simplistic like that.
Get walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I'm going to give you my input because you did ask, right?
I'm asking because I
Okay.
don't know what to say, and I'm like, hey, if you ever want to use my phone to call your friend, you can use my
Just
phone.
don't swipe right.
But, yeah.
I am a big believer in technology, and I'm not one of these guys that go, "Oh, it's all the devil's work and it's pornography and all that." No, I think if the individual is showing maturity enough, because here's the good trick on parenting that I've learned. Once I got that phone, that was the greatest carrot and the greatest
Yes.
chip
Yes.
of all for my
100%.
stepkids that I have. For that, it was the bargaining tool of a lifetime. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not ashamed
Sounds
to.
awfully manipulative.
Damn right, it could have been punitive too. But I'll tell you right now, shit got done. And if you didn't, and what's great about technology now and the phones, I could see everything. By the way, Mia, I can see everything you're doing,
Yeah.
and I can turn it off from my phone. I can turn off her stuff. I
Yeah.
can turn on her stuff. I can do. I mean,
100%.
you can monitor it, and it's not a chore.
It is
The
a
other
chore.
great thing is
I don't know
love
that
the
Alyssa.
location.
I don't know that Alyssa needs another job.
I love the location services.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
if he is showing, but I made Mia wrote me what she would do. What are the rules? Now here's the hardcore thing. That phone didn't go to her ever when she lived with me. Never went to her bedroom. It stayed plugged in at 8:30 in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You don't touch. No, you're going to bed.
Mhm.
You know, if you can get up early, that's fine, but that's where it goes. So I don't know. I'm one of these that I believe that 11-year-old, you can't say mature, an 11-year-old who can handle a phone is good because that can be taken away. I'm sorry if you call that punitive or manipulative.
yeah.
But
No, that's it's the biggest bargain chip. Oh, you're not doing your homework? Okay. You just go to
I love
AT&T or wherever.
it's so easy. It's an app now. So you don't have to
Yeah.
take the physical phone.
Oh,
You just
really? Data remove. SIM
and
card.
you can monitor.
Disable.
So this is the cool thing. You don't want to do social media? You can block all that on their phone.
Yeah.
They don't.
That
or
would-
Alyssa can.
Yeah, I was going to say that would require a little more technical savvy on my part.
You do it when you get in the phone. You
Yeah.
do it when you get the phone.
Yeah.
You
Set it all up.
You set up.
Mia had 5 numbers in her phone
Yeah.
and 911 when she had a phone as a kid. I'm lying to you guys. I got her an iPad when she was that age, but you could still FaceTime and all that and do.
Yeah. Well, he has an iPad and we do that. So
Okay.
I got the FaceTime. He can FaceTime me and call me and all that. But
But do I think it's a bargaining chip? You said something, so I'm curious, Dan, and I'm not being funny. You said it'd make it worse
It could.
getting picked on if
Getting-
you had a phone.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, cyberbullying exists.
Oh,
And so if he's getting bullied at school, then it's just like, well, now he's going to get bullied at home.
you know, he told me a story the other day. It was kind of his first heartbreak story. He put together Minecraft. You know what Minecraft is, Dan?
I do.
I would assume.
I've
you
never
would.
played it, but
Okay.
I know what it is.
I know what it is.
I know
You
what it
create
is.
worlds or levels or
Yeah.
tunnels or anyways, he says he created this entire world. He spent hours and hours and hours, and you go through and he fixed this puzzle, solve this deal, go to the next world, get to the level, and at the end it opens up, you go into the room, and this is all on the video game, and it opens up and it says, "Will you be my Valentine?" And so he made that world for a girl in his class, and he gave it to her.
Oh,
And
no.
And she went
like
through
where
it
this is
all,
going.
and she opens it, and she gets there, and he's kind of telling me a story, and I said, "Well, what happened?" Well, she said no, that she's too young for Valentine's right now, and that she's too
that
yeah.
isn't.
So she said no.
I'm a salesperson.
So he
That's just the first note.
That's kind of what I told him. It's kind of what I told him. It's like, yeah, you know, I was like,
She gave
I
a
think
good reason.
I said, I think it's really cool that you did that still, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe next time it'll work
Now
out.
let's talk to the expert. Okay, what do you think of that?
More times than not, it's the parents' initiative there.
Yeah,
The parents saying, "Hey, you're too young to be having a Valentine."
yeah,
She probably had zero to do with that.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
So my daughter's 17. I love
She's
how honest you are.
17?
So you help me,
Yeah.
open up.
You got
She's
almonds in your
17
teeth.
already.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
right here.
Are they still the
The hot ones. Yeah, don't eat that.
Don't close. You're going to close up on me. Don't close up on me.
Now I will. I wasn't going to.
Thank you for
so-
telling me.
I
Okay,
just saw it.
it's okay. I have worse
She's
in my
17.
mouth. And I could tell you that she has a serious boyfriend,
She does.
and they have been together for a year. And his
put my stuff right here.
Yep, and his name's Liam, and he is a nice young man.
Yeah. I've heard. Yeah. I've heard that.
But the thing is, it's like I was a young man. I am a man, a divorced man right now. So, and it's hard to kind of capture, like I know what he wants, but I can't scare the kid because he's a really good kid, but I know what he wants. What's your advice to that?
I ain't got
Coach?
no advice. You know, exactly.
Come on,
I mean,
coach. Give me some.
You got to do the old clean the gun trick.
He's
And I'm covered in tattoos. I think I'm in pretty good shape. I don't
He's-
know.
you
It's
know,
just- no.
You have
He's a
at
good
some point, you have to trust the woman you're growing.
I do. You know
Right.
what? I
and she'll
absolutely
know,
do.
she'll know how far she wants to go.
That's right.
Right. And how far, whatever he wants
Right.
means nothing to her. This is how far, this is my acceptable
Right.
limit
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I will
that's the
tell you, it's
person you
just,
grew.
she's my world, the only child I have.
Yeah.
And so it's just tough, man. It's just tough. Because I spend, for our audience knows, I go to Louisiana and spend time with her. And it's so funny. She has this new trick that she doesn't think I know about because I am a pawpaw. But meaning like I go to bed early. She goes, "Okay, Dad, you coming to town?" "Yeah. All right. Let's meet at Saltgrass at 4:30. And at first I was like, "Yes, man, they got the good deal. We eat a steak." But she's done with me and my friends joke
She
about
puts you to bed and then goes out.
by 6 o'clock, she's done. And I know what she's doing. I know.
So
But I still love it.
I want to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
back just briefly because first of all, I love your passion for what you do.
Yeah.
And I love where you're at and your vision and knowing your vision. I read that book a while ago. It was Gary Keller, The One Thing, Your One Thing or One Thing. And I spent a lot of time kind of focused on that. I was like, what is that one thing in terms of, and I believe that we all share in a way, kind of a one thing in terms of impacting people in a positive way and what we do. Do you believe, we talked about snoring in relationships and you said it's almost like it's an excuse for an exit,
Of course.
so there's conflict. Do you believe that if we fix that snoring or if we help that snoring, that it can help? Or do you believe that if they're looking for an exit, that they're going to, because I want to help relationships. And I see a lot of relationships that we improve by helping their snoring. But I'm curious now to see that if we fix that snoring, can it help them continue in their relationship, or are they just looking for an excuse and they'll just find a different excuse?
That's the ultimate I care.
Yeah.
Honey, let's go. We got to go do a sleep study. We got to go. Let's get your CPAP to solve this.
Yeah.
Transition.
Or an oral
Honey,
device.
I care. Yeah. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. Honey, I care.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to show you care.
Speaking of oral devices, if you need an oral device, sleepbetteraustin.com or Somnomed.
Well, through you.
Okay. Sorry.
But that's and that's very important.
Okay.
Right.
I like that. So going to actually get it treated
Yeah. I care about you enough.
is
This is
not
how-
just about the bedtime. It's
I care about you.
you.
And that's why I tell you, the snoring could bring you closer, or it could be an excuse to move your relationship further apart.
yeah.
So I had a meeting with this doctor up in Oklahoma, and they were talking about the husband had a unique situation. Whenever he would go to bed with his wife, he would literally fart every night. And it was like this grotesque smell. And the woman didn't want to leave the room because they'd been married for a while.
I don't even know where to go with this. I just don't know where to go with this.
Okay. So she goes to her friend and she goes, this worked for me. So at night, I want you to go up to the grocery store and I want you to buy chicken gizzards. And I want you just to thaw them out in the closet. And then when he falls asleep at night, I want you to put it in his underwear. And that way, when he wakes up, you're going to say, you shit out your intestines. And he'll freak out and he'll go to the doctor and get help for his GI stuff. And she goes, that's ingenious. So she did exactly that, went to the store, got the gizzards, left them in the closet, probably a little too long, put it in his underwear. And she got up early and left the room. And he hears him just scream out loud, ah! And she's like, oh, all right. So she waits a little bit, drinks her coffee, goes in. She goes, he was laying back down. And she goes, well, so why'd you scream? He goes, you're not going to believe this. You were right. He goes, I actually shit my intestines out, but by the grace of God and these 3 fingers, I got them all back up.
I knew you were going there. I knew that was about to happen.
That's fun. That's fun.
Oh, man.
That's a good one.
All
That's
right.
a good one. That's good one.
On that note,
You bet.
That's good.
I hope
bet.
that came out.
That's a good one.
I, first of all, I'm so blessed to do this podcast with you. I noticed that I always talk really good about our guests right before we wrap up. But Dan and Brandon, you guys have changed my life. I joke around a lot. I'm kind of goofy. This has given me so much joy. And I do feel like we're helping people. So thank you. Spence, I got emotional earlier. You coming on this podcast, dude. I'm so blessed to know people, and you're in my inner circle, dude. And you've been great. You've just always been there for me.
A lot of times I tell my wife, I said, I wish he was here. She's like, when you're here, you never see him. She's like, but you always speak very highly of him. And in my heart, I'm saying, oh God. She's like, you always speak very highly of him. And I was like, well, hon, listen. If I'm gonna have a friend that I speak poorly of, ain't no business me hanging out with them.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
But I want to take a quick time out and thank you guys for the opportunity.
Sure.
When Matthew told me he was doing a podcast, I was like, really? Right? And it started develop. And then he comes and was like, Yeah, it's getting done. It ain't no joke. We doing it. We're really professional. We really do. And I was like, dude, you're not trying to sell me nothing. I know you do your thing. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart dude. He's determined. And
Thank you.
what he has is character. What he has is character. You can't change your character. He's a good, they call it the salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
Right. He's good, a solid guy. And, we go out and he's kind of guy when you go out with, no matter what's going down, he always comes over and like, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Like halfway in the middle of everything, in the middle of the alignment and everything. You're good. Yeah. He ain't going to talk to you or nothing.
No.
He don't give a, you don't want to talk. He ain't going to talk to you. Buy you something, buy you a drink. He don't care about none of that. You're good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Same place.
I've witnessed it.
And I know.
You witness, right?
Uh-huh.
He's so concerned about making sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's good. That's a skill set and a trait not a lot of people have.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, I see that. I see that in my daughter too. She's going to be like you in terms of she wants to make sure everybody's okay. It's that social, it's the influencer part of people. And I mean that from a disc profile, not the Instagram profile standard. So YR, tell us again, just if people want to find you, if they're interested in speaking, coaching, your book, where do they look? What's the website? Give us all that information. We'll make sure we put it in.
So the website is www.yrspence.com.
Okay.
Instagram is y.r.spence.com. Twitter is author yrspence.com. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's if you just Google why.
Find
So
Wire
if you just
Spence.
Google,
I'm
Wire
proud of you
Spence.
changing hotlips.com.
Yeah.
I really am.
Okay.
If you just go yrspence.com.
And Google YR Spence, yeah.
And of course you have Books A Million, Amazon, Target.
Wherever books are
And-
sold.
And the
Wherever
book is
books are
My
sold.
Brother's Shot.
My brother shot.
Okay.
Do one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And you got another book on the way. Is it a sequel or you follow? Is it what's
here is the thing, right? I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. It's called Mixed In and Mixed Up, right? And here's why. There's so many mixed kids right now that feel they don't belong. My kids, when they're in high school, right? The African American kids, they thought they were Hispanic. The Hispanic kids
Thought
thought they were
African-American.
African.
Yeah.
The white kids thought they were, So there wasn't a group that they would be able to gravitate to, and my daughter especially had a hard time with that.
yeah.
Even we're talking high school and college, right? So it's a series of again advice statements, short stories, but it's circling. A lot of the short stories that I have has to do with
That's
mixed in
awesome.
and mixed up,
Cool.
because I think that's a population that's growing.
I agree.
You watch the NBA right now.
Mhm.
NBA. You watch pro
Any.
sports right now.
Yeah.
You see a lot of kids. Any social media, you scroll through anything. A lot of interracial going on.
I think that's awesome.
That's what they say by 2030. Almost a third of the kids are going to be
mixed.
from mixed kids.
Yeah.
I definitely have that problem.
Yeah.
Like if you looked at me, most people probably would think I'm Hispanic or Mexican or whatever it
I
is.
thought you were African American.
Yeah.
What's so
But
funny?
no,
I thought you were handsome.
well, thank you.
You are
Thank
very
sir.
handsome. Got it. Good.
Words of affirmation.
Yes.
That's my number
Yes.
one too.
Yeah, me too.
Well, listen,
anyway,
yeah.
No.
I just, again, we need to wrap this up. Brandon's always got a job to go to, and it sounds like you do too.
Yes.
What a pleasure it's been. Dan, you have any parting words?
All I want to say is that book that's the book that I meant to try to help get out a minute ago, because this isn't going to come out till later. So that book will be out. by
Oh
the time
no.
it's aired.
That's in the process. That's going to be out probably by the end of the year.
We'll have him back.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
definitely have you back on.
I have other projects that I'm working on.
Well,
Sweet.
dude, this is how we end. Grab something to drink. We're going to cheers. I know you're going to water.
Water.
Dude,
H2O.
thanks for sleeping around with Dr. Brandon,
Thank you.
Matthew,
Thank you.
and Handsome Dan. Appreciate it, buddy.
When the sun goes down and the moon is high.